Welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Love. We got the general that's on special assignment tonight. So look out. We got our normal Doc, you know what? I almost leaned on in, man, to say we got expert at being an agitator, but I don't want to give you that title.
Well, I won't back up from it.
I know you won't. I know
you won't. Let me tell you why I agitate. I'm an agitator because a lot of times I have been in situations, Rod, where people are not doing the right thing when they ought to be doing the right thing. It's not hard to do the right thing.
You're right.
And I've found myself having to champion or intercede on behalf of people who can't talk for themselves.
But Doc, don't we all have to be agitators at one time or another?
Well, yeah, I mean, we do, but how often do we know people that will literally take advantage of a situation for their own benefit when they know, they got the upper hand?
Well, Doc, I would call us agitators and collaborators because we will bring folk in the fold. We want to bring people to the party too.
But one thing about me now, and you know me, when you write, I give you credit. I'll tell it. I'll say your praises.
I also know what you would do when you think somebody wrong.
Oh yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Hey, y'all, those of you that's tuned into the show, Let's Talk Nation, the general's on special assignment, but we have Doc Polite with us tonight as we do every night on Monday nights. And Doc, man, I appreciate you. But Doc, before we jump into the show, man, I saw your vineyard this weekend.
Oh yeah,
you're a bad boy.
I'm so proud of my vineyard.
hey, Doc, I was impressed, man. I was truly impressed. I thought you were pulling a fast one on us, taking pictures of some of them public grapes, but those were your grapes.
Yeah. Well, I started this 3 years ago, and it's because I don't know if you ever been to Lakewood Winery.
I have.
Okay. And that's what they grow down there, the muscadine grapes, one of the varieties. And so I grew up seeing muscadines at my grandmother's farm in Live Oak. And I've always liked them. So I said, let me try to find out what I can do in growing some. So, I asked a couple of people around here, and I went to Lowe's and got 2 plants. I just went and got the plants to start them, right? And I started researching what to do. It took me 3 years to get that crop I got, but I got a crop of abundance. Matter of fact, I got to get out there later on and pick some today because I didn't pick today. And you have to pick them before they start dropping. And when they're real purple,
yeah,
that's when you got to catch them and let them sugar up for 2 days. But I'm making muscadine wine, so.
Well, man, hey, you impressed me. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to have that green thumb like you are. Hey, Doc, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I'm gonna give a few folk a little sneak peek. We're gonna be talking about 2 individuals that are running for office. We did Bishop McCrae's, we were honored to be participants and do a broadcast at his Season Blessings. And since then, I think we interviewed, Doc, 12 or 13 candidates for office.
Yeah.
We've been engaged by a great deal of those individuals even after that. And we have a special guest that it was one of the candidates that got up on the big stage and spoke and told the people that was what was on her mind. And she opened up herself. And a lot of people don't realize when we have people not just in office, but also running for office, man, you have to open yourself up to those communities because you're listening as much as you're telling them what you're going to do for them. So we have a candidate for District 6, Orange County District 6, that's in the studio with us. But Doc, there's another person that we also want to talk about that's moving around and they're doing interviews. They were on the show a couple of weeks ago with us.
And Roberta Walton Johnson.
Yeah.
And we really want to highlight her because I know she's been very active in the community for a long time. I spoke on a platform with her at the FAMU Law School one year. This was a long time ago, and I was speaking to the young people there. But she was there. She's an alumni of the FAMU Law School. In fact, she was in the first graduating class there. So, she has a long story history. The lady is talented. She is very involved in Central Florida politics. So we're going to
don't give it up. Don't give it up yet, Doc. We're gonna hit her during the break. We're gonna hit a couple of items before we go there. One of the items is Amendment 3, Doc, that we're hearing a lot of discussion. Amendment 3 being the property tax reform bill.
Yeah, and it's starting to, people are starting to turn on it. I've been watching it, and people are like, wait a minute, is this going to be a good thing?
Well, people are saying, is it going to be a good thing? But also, and for those of you who tuned in, you call in and let us know what you think about the property tax reform, because the other side of the coin is you got constituents that are looking at what some municipalities are doing with increasing their property tax right now at a time that they haven't even planned for the storm that's coming in November. So if you want to dial into the show, let us know your thoughts on the property tax reform bill. That number is 407-921-6195. Doc, what might be you? What were you saying now?
Let me tell you a thing that I've been thinking about. I could be wrong. I think the bill is aimed at crippling Democratic strongholds in Florida.
Why? That's interesting. Why would you say that?
Because Democrats do more social programs than anybody. Okay. And a lot of that money comes from tax dollars. Okay. The rural counties don't get as much of that. And they get funds from the state already, like Swanee County. Swanee County couldn't pay for itself if it had itself. It's just not enough of tax revenue there. So a lot of what they get.
But back to your point, you think, I don't think do you think Swanee County is a Democratic stronghold?
No, it's Republican.
Okay.
But I'm saying it receives a lot of funding from the state already to run its programs. Okay. And they make up for the shortfall of their revenue already. So that will stay in place. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me give you my perspective.
And so these Democratic counties don't have that in place. Many of them run basically on what they get in, what's budgeted for them, and what they get from property tax. So if you take away the property tax, where are they going to get their money from?
So what I'm hearing you say, Doc, because you're talking about more programming, and you're talking about Democratic counties have more programming. Is that what I'm hearing you?
I'm saying that they tend to have more money spent toward social programs. Okay, you go to Swanee County, they don't have a dog park up there. You get what I'm saying?
But they're limiting their resources anyway. And that's not
exactly. If I'm broke, this is not going to change my outcome for my county. If my county is already.
Well, here's my take, Doc. I'm going to tell you my take, and it's different. My take is you have constituents that's hearing about this issue about property tax reform. I'm hearing from more people saying, if this is going to save me more money on paying property tax to government, and keep in mind, it's only dealing with homesteaded property. Not your commercial, any of that homesteaded property. So you have folk, and I know the other side of the coin is people saying, okay, be careful what you do, because this may restrict some services, and those services. And I've heard different municipalities say the core services, public safety, fire department, your public, those are the ones that, those are the critical or essential. And then you work your way out from there to look at how are you spending. But Doc, again, to circle it all back around, when you look at some of the municipalities, and you and I and Greg, we've been paying attention. You have some municipalities that have froze hiring. They froze discretionary spending, anticipating what may happen. You have some other municipalities that unusually, have increased their millage rate. They're hiring positions. The one that has been obvious when you look at the city of Apopka. You look
Well,
at
well, you know, Apopka is schizophrenic right now. I don't know what the hell they doing over there. I just don't. You know, you got this shortfall coming up, okay? And they raised taxes. It wasn't as much as they want, but they still raised it. They changed the rules so they could make that tax change. Then they turn around and pay a $200,000 per year salary for an information guy.
and Doc, I don't know the guy, and I don't know if you know him, but
No, I don't know him.
But what we and this is not a hit to this guy's reputation or anything, but the big issue is, like you say, you're paying off.
We're not talking about the guy. We're talking about the position.
Correct.
I don't know him. I don't care to know him. I'm talking about the fact that you are paying someone that amount of money and you can't really justify or give a scope of job and responsibility that is reflective in the value that you're paying. You see what I'm saying? It's like if you got a Hall of Fame quarterback, you can justify his salary. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you.
And if I can buy 5 people to do that one job and save 100,000, then I would rather do that than to pay one person that amount. You can't, man. Listen, you can't convince me that position is worth that. I don't care what you say.
And
because,
Doc,
there's so much more that can be done. You can do a large percent of that right now with AI. You see people cutting their staff because AI is able to do so much, answer questions.
A lot of the response that we're seeing back from this, Doc, and I mean you, myself, and I mean we've all been having dialogue about this. We've been reading the comments. I mean, and taxpayers aren't happy with it. Bottom line, are not happy with it. And then the explanation or the excuse or the justification, let's use the word justification, Doc, that this is going to contribute to infrastructure in the city. I kind of find it real hard, man, to believe when you look at that position.
The remark that I saw in on one of the Apopka pages that this will bring in revenue. And I asked the person how. They never responded back. Explain to me how it's going to bring in revenue.
Well, I think
this is basically a spokesperson's position that is, from their description of it, spokesperson position that's telling everybody what's going on with the Apopka government and the departments, right? Am I out of scope?
No, you're right. You're right. But
what I would have done, the smart move to me would have been, I would have invested in AI to do that, at least long term, because that's the upfront cost that will diminish.
Well, Doc, I think the smart investment would have been to look at what's going to take place in November so that you can better plan, make an informed decision about moving forward. And Doc, let me hit this because, again, you and I agree. It's not about the person. It's about justifying and looking at that amount of money. But Doc, here's something you and I both have had a conversation about. Remember, it used to be a time, and I'm going to go back, I think this was pre-pandemic, where when you look at government and look at the private sector, you knew you weren't going to make the amount of money in the public sector, but what compensated for you was the healthcare benefits, the security, vacation time. That is not the case anymore, because when you see jobs paying such as this, and I'm not a hater, but that's a private sector salary. Because now on the private sector side, you weren't guaranteed the level of healthcare benefits, vacation time, those benefits. So it was an offset. Now, not so much.
But now, here's the problem. If you look back, government still really started getting out of control with this kind of stuff in the 90s. Before that, most governments ran on the lean side. They tended not to have a lot of overhead, not spend, money on salaries and perks and all of that stuff. And somewhere along the way, they got into the idea that government jobs were clout positions, okay, and that they got the hobnob and stuff. And a lot of this is coming from lobbyists and influencers whining and dining these folks. Now, when I worked for a top healthcare company, they would rent out cruise ships, Rod, and put all these healthcare executives on there.
But that's the private sector, Doc. You are creating and generating margins on that side that's not public money. Now we're talking about the public
but
side.
Listen, they are having influencers go in there and say, hey, you and the wife, y'all come on this trip or whatever. Okay. You got a fact-finding mission to Zambia. You in Florida. What the hell you need to go to Zambia for?
Well, come on now. We've seen
that. We've seen that, these Africans trips, and all of a sudden we got a picture of government member XYZ on a safari. You're supposed to be going over there for you get what I'm saying? So they're going on the government's dime, and there's no pushback or accountability, and it's do what you want. Because the government is never going to run out of money. That's the mindset. They're not being good stewards.
Because it's other people's money.
Many governments are not operating in good stewardship.
Doc, when is the last time you heard, I mean, we used to hear it often, person running for office or an elected official that talks about, I'm going to live within we're going to live within our means. We're going to be frugal with the taxpayer dollars. I don't hear that kind of language anymore.
Well, one of the phenomena I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not gonna call the person's name, but this person has moved around local government in various positions for years and years, and effectively done nothing in each of those positions. But yet and still, that person continues to get accolades and congratulations when really there's nothing to distinguish their service. I can't see it. It's like the black organizations and magazines that say this year you give me an award, next year I give you an award. See, that's the kind of foolishness right there that happens in Central Florida. I've seen this my whole life. Oh, he man of the year. What the hell did he do to be man of the year?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with some of the folk that's running for office, man, and they're really getting out there and they're articulating that here's some of the problems with government, and they're coming to the table with some of the solutions. Now, we got to get into a little bit more detail because you're not going to fix things overnight. But you know what, Doc? Just having a dialogue and a conversation matters. So with that, Doc, we got a special guest that's in the studio, and I think, at this point in time, we need to take a little break so that we can bring him in and listen to what she has to say. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
They break, I fix. Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Jaguars and Porsche. Joe's Quality Auto Repair. I specialize in European cars. They break, I fix at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair. Located at 1240 State Road 436 in Altamont Springs. They break, I fix. Call me, mention Let's Talk Nation and bring your certified dealership repair quote. And I beat by 30%. Remember, they break, I fix. Call me at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair at 407-409-6040. Again, 407-409-6040. After they break, I fix. Joe's European Quality Auto Repair.
Hey, welcome back to Let's Talk Nation. We told you we had a special treat, and that, hey, I got to tell you, Doc, is tonight my opportunity to do the introductions? Because I know you recruited. I'm going to defer to you.
Okay. This young lady has run for office in Central Florida before. She is a community activist in many ways. I won't say that that's her full resume, but she is very much involved in the community. She wants to see things done a little bit different when it comes to how we take care of our citizens with affordable housing and healthcare and things like that. And she has a very strong platform, and she's here to talk to people about her platform. The one and only Miss Heather Pierre Joseph.
Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Nation.
Thank you so much for inviting me today.
Appreciate you being here. You know, our buddy Doc Polite, that's all he's been doing is talking about you. So we got you in the studio tonight. But you know what? Before we get started, I'm going to dig deep, and I got to ask you the question that we ask all candidates. What has driven and compelled you to run for office?
Well, being in politics and being engaged. So I'm just going to let the audience know I've been marching ever since Jeb Bush, 1998, when we privatized everything, right? So that's kind of the conversations you guys were having previously. And for the most part, I think most of our elected officials are good people, right? We try and do what's the best, and we do the best that we can. But for me, the breaking point has been the amount of poverty, the amount of lack of concern. I sit in the county commission meetings, and I know the public would be appalled, the level of indifference. And what are some of the real solutions? So I'm sitting here because I'm sick and tired. At the end of the day, the most vulnerable amongst us are our children and our seniors, and our children are suffering a lot. And as a mom and as a parent and as someone that works in the school system, I have never in my lifetime seen this amount of poverty. You know what I mean? When the face of homelessness does not look like the homeless that we've seen. And I don't see a sense of urgency. And that's why I'm running for office.
Why do you think that's happening more so now than in the past?
Good question, Doc.
Well, I think the point was COVID. You talked about it earlier, Doc. We elect people based on popularity. And I think the biggest mistake we made in the entire United States, I said it, you go back and check the record. During COVID was a state of emergency. I'm from South Florida. Remember hurricanes? You don't do price gouging. Yeah. And we allowed them to price gouge because none of our elected officials brought that to attention. No one stopped to think, how do you raise housing prices during a crisis? That is price gouging by definition. And so I think that compounded our current situation that we have right now, where housing is unaffordable.
I think we also need to let people know what seat you're running for. We just jumped to it.
Well, Orange County Commission District 6.
Okay. And, you know, let's go ahead and go a little deep on that, because Orange County has added 2 additional district seats, and the advocacy for services, for resources, is going to be that much more competitive now.
I don't think so. I disagree. It's the same amount of people, right? So if I have a pie and we do math, I break it up, it's the same amount, right? So if I have a pie, I break it up into a 6 or I break it up into an 8, it's the same thing. For me, it's about the budget. The budget is $8.3 billion. I work hard in my community and I work on forming relationships. So I think the relationships, and since you have so many seats that are up, I think it'll be easier if the voters pick right. I think it'll be easier to see little changes.
Okay, so
one of the things. Oh, go ahead, Rod.
No, go ahead. Because
one of the things I noticed when researching some issues over that district is that Orange County does not cover the cost of many of the. Well, Orange County covers the cost of many of the things that are a direct result of the tourism industry. We have to fix our roads. We have law enforcement costs. We have healthcare costs that can be directly tied to the tourism industry. But the tourism industry doesn't pay that. They don't pay anything towards that.
Yeah.
And we as the citizens are now stuck paying for that excess cost that's above and beyond because we don't get anything from tourism.
Doc, we do tourism is and they're contributing to some of our public safety and infrastructure on our roads. The question, I guess, is how much is that tourism dollar? How far is it going?
But where? From
But
where?
my thing is trace the money, right? Out of the, and let's go back because the teacher in me wants to educate, because I think the masses are ill-informed, and that's why we continue to elect who we elect. So in 1978, the Florida legislature, Orlando was not Orlando, right? And so they said, let's do a tax. Let's tax the tourists and take that money to market to bring more tourists. I've also spoken to residents who have been in Orlando since that time and said, Heather, we built that. We built that infrastructure. So they promised that there was the residents who paid into it. So with that, this is my problem with that. Yes, we need the tourists. The first time I ran, I'm not as little naive person as as I was. And so the first time, the fact that we don't talk about it bothers me. I was told, because let's talk about it, right? Let's talk, nation. I was told, don't you dare talk about the tourist tax dollars. They tell everybody, and I'm like, what are you talking about? The tourists are in District 6. It has always been in District 6. You get 73 million tourists in District 6. Why can't we talk about it? Right then, as soon as those people told me not to talk about it, I was like, uh-oh, there's fear in talking about it. So what I am saying is that if it's $300 million, I would love to get into office, do an audit, do a forensic audit, look at the budget and see where the dollars have gone over the last 10 years. Secondly, that money goes to an organization named Visit Orlando. Visit Orlando is not a government entity. There was an audit done last year that says $20 million was misclassified. So for me, I think some of those dollars need to be used for economic development and community development, a portion of it. And so I will stop right there. But I say before, people's like, oh, the tourists pay. No, because the majority of the people in our service industry are the majority of the people, because I heard Doc say earlier about social services. Those are the majority of the working families who are on social services. They qualify for food stamps. Their kids qualify for stuff, and they're working.
So, Ms. Joseph, let me ask you this question. When we talk about TDT, when you're seated as a commissioner, you know those dollars are guided by the statute. So for those who are listening to the show, need to understand that the Orange County Commission, the statute overrules. So respond to
it. For me, it's about the fight. Life is about the fight. Life is about the fight. So if I'm elected official, right, there are 9 of us on there, including the mayor, and I'm having these conversations with people. Orange County residents, you are in the most powerful position. Don't listen to that. I disagree, because you're running for governor. The governor needs your vote. Everybody needs your vote. You need to ask every single person in the Florida legislature, do you believe the tourist development, some of the dollars of the tourist development tax should be spent on the residents? It's either a yes or no. Yes means we fight to change the law. No means status quo, or we keep quiet.
Well, and you took it right where
that
was my whole point. It starts with the legislature with that.
And I get it. She's not calling for a whole. It's not a wholesale attack on the tourism industry, but they need to pay more.
Correct.
They need to pay more, because as a result, we wouldn't have these people here, and we wouldn't need all of this infrastructure if they weren't here. So
my whole point is you guided people where they have to start to the legislature.
Yeah, because this is about empowerment and this is about engagement. And so this is what I'm bringing. These people playing us. We're going to have to change the way Doc said it early. We're hiring personalities, who's popular, who we know. And I'm all about compromise. This is not a fight. We are neighbors. We depend on the tourism industry. Even a compromise. I would say, okay, fine. Y'all want to keep y'all 6%? Because I know how people are, right? Power does not concede, right? And we don't want to get in a battle. What I would propose is we raise it by 1 cent, right?
But listen,
Only, right, Doc? Only if we can guarantee that money goes. But they don't even want to talk about it. The fact that none, and everybody should be outraged. The fact that Heather Pierre Joseph is one of the loudest people. The rest of them just stand up there. I'm like, come on, y'all. We got to talk about it. And we're community. We have to talk about it just like we have difficult conversations. We cannot continue to leave a set. That's $300 million in a slow year. $400 million. We don't even have county parks. Where do our children play?
And the thing that gets me about it is the fact that we talk about the homeless, but there are thousands and thousands of working homeless in Central Florida. It's crazy. These people cannot afford a place to live, but they're going out here every day working in the tourism industry and not getting a living wage. They can't afford health care. We are picking up that tab. Picking up that tab.
And on healthcare, District 6, 40% of District 6 is uninsured. Uninsured. That means people are preventable deaths.
So since you go to healthcare, I was going to go to small business, but since you go to healthcare, how would you propose the county impact those community clinics or subsidize those community clinics? The majority of them are run by or funded by state, correct? And the federal government.
Correct. But if people were making, we got to get more. If people were making a livable wage, they could afford health care. They're uninsured. People want health care. People can't afford it. I don't want to call anybody, but for a family, it's average $2,000 a month for health care. How can you afford that?
Yeah.
How can you? And then what I'm telling people is that all your elected officials have to work together for solutions, not photo ops, not
let me say this. It's the damnedest thing, because I always think about this. If you invest in people, the rate of return is so great, you solve a lot of those problems. If you got healthy, strong people, the best social program is a job. And a job that pays a living wage. Now we got more investment because now they're buying houses, they're spending money. All of that contributes to the local economy. So why would you not want more people to participate in that economy?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we don't see that correlation.
Yeah, and the correlation to the back of iDrive International runs into Oak Ridge. And this is the vision. How about we use more community development block grants to support our small businesses? Because our small businesses are the ones who are going to hire more people in the community.
You're taking my question away from me, because
I'm sorry.
That's one of the areas that I know you are well versed. As a matter of fact, I don't know how many years back it goes, but I remember you were at the airport. So let me regurgitate this question for you. What would you do to help emerging small businesses?
First, I did Leadership Orlando, did all that stuff. And can we talk for a little bit? Let's talk about the way it is. What it is that there are billions of dollars going on over our head. They'll take a couple minority or small businesses, 3, 4, 5, give them a couple peanuts, and the rest of us are fighting. This is how I look at it. Having been in the business and trying to survive and get to the larger contracts, one of the issues is they tell us we're not bonded, right? And so we don't have the opportunity. And having traveled throughout the state of Florida, I'm the president of Democratic Haitian Caucus, Broward County solved one of those solutions. What they did is that they broke up, I'm going to use, for example, their cleaning contracts. They broke them up into zones. Zone A, Zone B. And so instead of having, and these are some of the solutions. So let's say something like cleaning, right? Something that a lot of us can do. Not a contract, but it's still hard to get bonded at the airport when the contracts are $25 million, $30 million. And most of these contracts are 3, 4, and 5 years. This is not a yearly contracts, right? They're 4-year contracts, 5-year contracts. Who's cleaning our libraries? Who's cleaning our fire departments? Who's cleaning our police stations? And so what we do, the convention center, we put it in this big block, these contracts, and small businesses cannot afford it.
Yeah.
We can't compete. I tried as much as I know, as many people as I know, as smart as I am, I don't need nobody to tell me how to incorporate my business. What we need direct support. Direct support is in my accounting software. Direct support into legal advice. These are some of the funds that I would advocate for, more direct support. Those who are getting the money, how is the money helping my business?
And that is something that Orange County government has control of.
Absolutely. But no one's coming up with solutions. It's not about the win. It's about, first of all, do you have a solution? That's what my life has been, right? It's been a fight. So do you have a solution? And let's fight towards a solution. Eventually you'll get there. I may not benefit for some of the ideas that I have, but I can see it in my head. I can see us making an economic, because this is what we use to, we say gentrify, right? It's not the other community's fault, because the leaders that we've elected to represent us, they have no vision. And then another community comes in and they know that's a lower moderate income. They use the community development block grants. They have it designated, and then their businesses get that advantage. But I would love to see more investment into small businesses. And the only way we do that is by getting a proportion of the tourist developmental tax. I think at the end, Doc, I'll let you answer. I think a compromise would be to raise it, but only if they guarantee to give us that 1% for development.
Well,
go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I agree, because it just makes sense to want to improve the economic condition across the region so that it is more robust.
You know, I'm gonna go back to something you said, and I really like it. I got to tell you, when you talk about, and I stand corrected, when you talk about it should make it a little easier to get a piece of the pie. I was going to ask that traditional question about how effective do you believe that you would be working across the aisle, but we often hear that from a statewide level. But I hear that coming through you sitting here at this table with working among your colleagues to advocate.
Absolutely. I have relationships with people. I have been in the political arena for over 20 plus years. And so I have relationships nationally, and I believe in best practices, right? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Someone else is doing that. It's just a conversation. Did you know they're doing this? And I think Broward County has the best model. Could you imagine if we broke up our cleaning contracts? And that's what they did in Broward. And so I know the people in Broward that did it, because you got progressive people down there.
But what I hear you saying too, and you're using the S word that we don't often hear people use, and that's solutions.
I mean, how many solutions? But how many solutions have you heard?
Doc,
You heard lies.
Am I wrong, Doc?
You're right. That makes too much sense. They have a solution.
Yeah, that makes too much. And then what I think it is, we all get in there, right? I'm just speaking. I think they get in there with good intentions, but then you get cozy. Your children aren't right. See, you know what I'm saying? That's why I go in as head of peer. I don't use any titles. Just to let your audience know, yours truly was one of the delegates who elected the nominee VP Harris. But I go into spaces by myself. Like the other day, I had to go to Social Security office. I didn't pick up the phone and call somebody. I went in there and sat like everybody else. I want to see what the average person experiences. That's how you come up with solutions. So when we get in office, the elected officials are not waiting at the DMV. If I'm lying, I'm flying. They're not waiting at the DMV. They're getting preferential treatment. And when you get that preferential treatment, you kind of lose the actual perspective what working families or regular people.
Yeah, it's sort of like your congressman going to the grocery store. They have no idea how much a loaf of bread costs.
Yeah, milk.
And they out of touch.
Hey, here's a question that we got, and I'm gonna just lay it out for you. What county services or policies would you improve for residents with disabilities and their families?
Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I've talked to the disability community, right? Disabilities, there's a wide range. Been a part of Family Cafe. I have a child with disabilities. First of all, I would improve communication. I've talked to some of them, like in the autism community. They said, Heather, we want a bus. We want a bus wrapped. We want a bus that wraps autism. We do it in the schools. We celebrate Autism Week.
We got to reintroduce you because some of the audience missed you. This is Heather Pierre Joseph, and she's running for District 6 Commissioner for Orange County. And she's got some great ideas and some insights as to what some solutions could be. And we wanted to give her a chance to get on the platform and share that, because we think it's important that you're informed. And you know, we never advocate, or we stay impartial on Let's Talk Nation. We don't say vote for this person. We bring you on here. We let you speak what your point of view is, and we keep it that way. We've had hundreds of elected officials on here over the years, and it's always to inform the people. That's what this show is about.
Yes.
It's about keeping
Yeah.
people
And
informed.
Doc, let me, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
we invite folk that are running for office on this show to come and speak for themselves. For those who don't come speak for themselves, they leave it up to us, and you don't necessarily want us to. But I
Yeah.
want to tell you, I want to tell you, you're speaking with a very, very strong voice tonight, and I got to tell you, people are listening.
Yeah, I see a lot of suffering, right? I have a child with disabilities. I wake up every morning and fight, because with the world of disabilities, you never know what you're going to wake up to, right? There are good days and there are bad days. There's sometimes I don't know if death is easier, or is it living with the constant, right? The constant fight. Hey, creating opportunities and access. So the first thing I always do is I listen. So I make sure when my child with disabilities, I got into groups so I could hear the voices of persons with disabilities. So that's what they want to be called, persons with disabilities, not disabled. I'm not a disabled person. I'm a person with disabilities. And so I spoke to Michael, a young man. He's like, Heather, why don't we have a fire truck wrapped? And I said, Michael, why is that so important? He's like, because I want them to see us. I want them to know there. He advocated for training for the police officers. But for me, when we talk about housing, right, a lot of our housing units in Florida are 3 floors. They make them 3 floors because they don't want to build elevators. The 4th floor requires an elevator. So a person with disabilities has to stay on the 1st floor. We don't have ample, and people talk about, oh, we get 88, the parking space, whatever. But with having lived, our wheelchairs don't fit through the door. Our bedside commodes don't fit into the tubs. The counters are too high. The toilets may be too low. And so these are some of the practical things. I don't want to put any of the businesses, but as we go forward, the sidewalks, how do people walk? And so I think it's having a conversation and saying we are not there for persons with disabilities. We are not there for children. We have people that have silent disabilities. So I have lots of ideas, but one of the ideas, since disability illnesses tend to lead, are one of the factors that lead to homelessness. So part of my vision would be having a real estate license, is that we begin to work now. The county has $60,000, $70,000 improved the first-time home buyers program. I've met some developers outside of the area, right? And so let's get some developers in, let's build some housing for persons with disability who are getting disability checks and Social Security because they have income. It's just that they have income, they just can't afford to live. And so that would be one of the initiatives I would start on day one. Day one would be bringing everyone together with a watchful eye. Let's try and improve the first-time home buyers program in the county, because I've worked on it. The first-time home buyers in the county, as a licensed real estate professional, former licensed real estate professional, we don't use it because it takes 60 to 90 days. People want to close 30, 45 days. And so we would go to the state and get $7,500 because it's quicker. And so, and I wonder what's happening to that money, Doc. I'll leave that up to you to find out what's happening to all that money. But nonetheless, kind of improve that. And I know we can't save the entire world, but there are families with children, and I have a heart for that. So if a child has disabilities, it's some of these disabilities are not curable. And so we could at least start to get those parents into some type of housing, not rental.
Not rental, get them something they can own.
They can own, because you're evicted quicker, and then you have a time. And I would want to improve the prevention, the budget for preventing homelessness.
I'll tell you what, here's what I want to do. This is going to be the rapid fire time. and but these questions
we got to talk.
these questions that we're about to ask you are questions that are very critical, and they become very popular. One of the questions is how can, and you partially talked and spoke to this one, but it was about people with disabilities, persons with disabilities. Here's one. How can Orange County better serve teachers, first responders, seniors, and young adults struggling with housing costs?
We have to get more affordable housing. And when I say affordable housing, the way it works now, Orange County does not go out. There's not a plan. We don't go out and get the developers for the type of housing we want. The developers come to us and then we approve zoning. So I think we need to be strategic and say, okay, this section here, we want mixed use. How does that look? Villas.
You gotta look at the business aspect of it too. I can do a house for affordable house. Okay, let's say I put that there, but I got a choice to put a timeshare there that's going to earn me $1 million plus a year. So that's what housing is fighting with. There's only so much land and area in Central Florida that you can build on, and most people are looking to maximize the use of their land. I completely understand that. So we got to have some solutions other than just build houses. Now, one of the things, and you talked about this, the reason that they don't have 5 and 6 floors all over Florida is we got sugar sand. You can't build on sugar sand. Now you see Miami. Miami sits on top of a bedrock area. The area where you see those tall buildings at, that's because they have limestone and rock underneath it. You can't build large and tall structures all over Florida because we were vertical a long time ago.
It's Doc does this to me, but that's my brother. I love him because he does this to me. But this other rapid fire that everybody's asking questions about is, and you mentioned it earlier about your Haitian descent. How has your experience as a formerly undocumented immigrant influenced your approach to public service?
Tell him your story.
Well, my parents fled from exile. My mom died in exile in childbirth. So I'm a proponent of the women's right to choose, right? So my lived experience have gone full circle. I came on a boat. So when you remember those Haitian people coming in the late 70s, early 80s, you forgot the children that were on the boat. I am their hopes and dreams and their aspirations. And so for me, with my life now, it is important that I uplift them and I honor them. So what that has taught me, that life deals everyone cards, right? And we got to play the cards that we're dealt with. Go ahead.
And the thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I tell you, when I found out your story is so powerful, Rod, she has educated her kids, came here now at 4 years old and fought to make a life for herself and her kids. She's educated herself and her children. So this is counterproductive to the narrative we always hear about immigrants coming here.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So and we have to acknowledge that. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm not anti-illegal immigrant. Yeah. But I know it needs to be a way, but we don't need to say, no immigrants.
Yeah. But people we're not fleeing because we're poor and we don't have electricity. We don't know that we don't have electricity. I grew up with the outhouse. You know what I mean? I don't drink tap water, but nonetheless, we flee. When I say we flee for the violence, for the U.S. guns that have gone in their country. Even if Haiti's violent, right? When we look at Somalia, we look at Colombia, those are U.S. guns. If those people don't have drinking water, and y'all say they ain't got shoes, we barely got clothes, how do we get $13,000, $14,000 AR-47, whatever you call it? So for me, when I was in that space, I remember Chrome, but I also remember African-American community. I am NAACP bred. So when people say, where's all this fire? This fire is NACP. This fire is Black people. I've seen Black people that had colored written on their birth certificates. I've seen how Black people fought. And so this is who I am. Even though the suffering, my fight, the training is NACP. But I remember the late Congresswoman Carrie Meek. The late Congressman Carrie Meek was a fighter. She fought for Haitian immigrant children who couldn't fight for themselves. And so for me, all of my lived experiences, being in classrooms in South Florida, remember we have 40, 50 kids.
Yeah.
Somebody fought to say, wait a minute, our class sizes are too big. And so I think my immigrant experience has given me a lot of compassion and has told me, although I'm on the other side, and thank you, Doc, I'm so proud of my baby. You know, I've sheltered a few, I've educated a lot of them, but for us, education was the only way out, right? Your ability to read. That's why I assimilated to conceal my accent, because that was my way up, right? Reading, being educated was the only way out. So my baby, I'm so proud of her, graduated from UCF, biomedical science, bachelor's degree with honors. And that's with disability. I don't mean to put all my baby's business out there, but
Hey, that's a proud mama. That's a proud mama.
You know, with that. And then she just graduated from grad school, summa cum laude, right? Biomedical science. And so if I had the fortitude to fight, and it's been a fight, I fought OCPS, I fought Valencia, I fight every way to get her accommodations. And the only reason why I did that, because I never had a voice. I didn't have parents to speak for me. And so I'm always cognizant. Well, let their parents speak, but all of us don't have parents. And if I say in the African-American vernacular, we all ain't got parents, then what? You gonna leave us out there like that?
Yeah.
And so
you're saying, you're defining what servant leader means.
You're right. You're right.
You're
right.
defining it.
You define, but here's one thing, and before we leave out of here and lose time, Let's Talk Nation is defined by measuring what people do. People can do a lot of this. So within your first year, what are your top 3 priorities?
Well, I'm already working on them. My top 3 priorities is engage in the community. I don't want to leave a voting base that is ignorant to the fact of what's really going on. So I've already started having those conversations. What people say may change based on the way, you know what I mean, they're feeling. So I want to be able to engage the voter and bring them with me. So this is not a fight with me by myself, and that's number one. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job with that. The second thing I would want to do right off the bat, we've got to stop the cycle. How do we stop the bleeding? I would create immediately an Office of Youth Advisory Council. I want to hear from the young people. I want them engaged because they're leaving here. I think that's something very practical. I would want to see the Office of Orange County Commission come and work study. I would love to help other businesses become work study partners. Work study partners are the federal government pays children that get Pell, that are on financial aid and get Pell grants, and they have to work, but there are not enough work studies. So I think that's something we can do. So a leader helps the community. And so I would love to do it first, get all of our businesses. I would love to see a couple young kids in journalism working in here and the federal government paying them. I would love to do that.
We'd love to see that too. What we got?
Yeah.
And Doc, don't you think that would be easy?
Well, they used to have that. It was called CETA and another program.
Yeah.
Where they trained you. The federal government gave grant money, and it was for training young people in business and different vocations.
Yeah, we're losing.
It's not far-fetched.
Yeah, we're losing our first gen, right? Because I know, because of my daughter, and I tell you, everything has come through lived experiences. So even there weren't any opportunities. We have a bunch of children who are first generation. You, myself, we may know doctors and lawyers. So there are a bunch of kids graduating from UCF, and they don't have externships. And so they're graduating, they can't do their MCATs. They're going to Mercy, to Lakeside, to do externships. And so I would see more professionals, but the government pays for it, right? I don't know the liability, but a work study partner.
And the ROI on that, I mean, and Doc, you said it perfect. I mean, the best cure to when you look at poverty and things to that extent is a job.
It's a job, an educated job, and training. And the second thing I would do, there are some, I would say, manufacturer or low-skilled jobs that we can get. I would want to see District 6, we have Lockheed there, we have other things. I would love to actively bring research here, right? Research and tech in that district. So those would be some of my number one. I I got a lot of them, y'all, but those would be some of my number one. The first time home buyers program as county commissioner. And I do this stuff already, but I don't have the voice, right? I mean, I have a powerful voice, but it's difficult because people look at you different. Who are you? But as county commissioner, it would be easier for me to do
Yeah,
some of the things
you got
that
you got a super megaphone then.
Yes.
Correct. And so, I mean, we've had the conversations, but there's no one, for example, FAMU right now, there's so much going on. FAMU is doing a wealth management, how you dying with dignity, right? Doing wills and trusts. They don't have enough people. That I believe as a county commissioner, that should be your job to reach out to FAMU because you're a leader in the community. Go to the community, say, okay, let me host this at the community center. There are language barriers. Mbale Creole, habla español, poquito, pequeño. And so, you know.
Hey, you got Hey, you took Rod, so
no, but language is a barrier. So when you do these things and you don't include them, I mean, that's what our community is. And so something as simple as FAMU. So making sure that people have will and trust, and FAMU is doing that for free, but they don't have a surrogate, someone to help build that bridge. So my job is just to help build the bridge. I got so many ideas. When it comes down to healthcare, we're losing a lot of families when you're faced with emergency. I get cancer. I'm in shock. I can't work my child. I would want to see us working with the hospitals on how to support them to make sure people aren't falling.
You got a strong voice. Before we run out of time, I want you to look at that red light and tell people how they can get in touch with you and help your campaign.
Okay, get in touch with me. It's voteheader.com. You can also give me a call at 407-615-4515. 407-615-4515. Donate. I'm grassroots. Y'all hear how I'm talking, right? So you know I'm not endorsed, but I'm not looking for an endorsement. I'm trying to go in the right way. I want you to endorse me because I want to be accountable to you. So what's happening is that we're not funding our candidates in. And so once we accept money from special interests, we're obligated to keep our mouth silent and speak for special interests. And so I want to be endorsed by you, and you can endorse me by giving whatever you can. There's a gentleman, I was at a convention a few weeks ago. He got 10,000 donations. They were $33. And so thank you so much for the opportunity.
Heather, let me tell you, on behalf of Doc, myself, Attorney Greg Jackson, Let's Talk Nation, and I can't leave a Mondo out. Hey, you brought something to the table tonight to Let's Talk Nation audience. You gave them a lot to think about. Doc.
Yeah, you got my head spinning because you unpacked a lot, and it's stuff that needs to be said. So I commend you for having the courage to say it. We wish you luck in Godspeed in your campaign, and just continue to go out there like every other candidate and speak your truth to the people and let them decide.
Hey, thank you once again. Don't move because you brought so much to the table. We didn't even do a commercial break and get off the segment. Doc, quick plug for the conversation we were having earlier with Roberta Walton.
You know what? We can't do it justice in 2 minutes. So let's talk about it next week because this lady, hey, she's just as powerful as her. So we need to do her justice.
You're absolutely right. Hey, once again, I got to tell you, you came with it tonight. And you gave a lot of people something to think about, and you did it in different pieces. And so once again, we want to thank you for joining Let's Talk Nation. And boy, you're talking about a voice from the dais that will speak up and speak loud. I think you got that voice.
I love when a candidate comes in with solutions. That tells me that they've been planning, they've been thinking. It ain't just trying to get in office. You have seen, they see a problem, they have a solution.
Oh, let everybody know. Early voting is taking place.
Early voting starts today, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. The last day of early voting is August 16th, and election day is on August 18th. Please vote Heather Pierre Joseph.
On that note, Doc, I'm going to not do it like we normally say to Greg and yourself, but Miss Heather, thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Nation. For those of you who are viewing us tonight, tune in every Monday night for Let's Talk Nation. We bring you the real deal. We'll see you next week. Peace.